Assalamu alaikum everybody, hope so you are doing well. So today in this video we will discuss what is an ecosystem, how ecosystem is classified, what are the major ecosystems and the factors that influence the ecosystem. Moving towards the outline, we have introduction to ecosystem, components of an ecosystem, importance of ecosystem and the major ecosystems along with their examples. What is an ecosystem? Ecosystem is simply the habitat of the living organisms where they find the shelter, where they find the home, where they find the food and all the necessary survival requirements they need are available in an ecosystem. Its definition is an ecosystem is a geographic area where plants, animals, and the other organisms, as well as weather and landscape, work together to form a bubble of life. It is basically responsible for the life of the organisms, for the growth of the organisms, for the survival of the organisms, and the formation of the habitat on this earth. The biotic community combined with abiotic components, they both are linked through nutrient cycle or other methods that are responsible for the energy flow to the biotic community that comprises all the living organisms living on this earth make an ecosystem. The components in which the ecosystem is classified are the biotic components and the abiotic components. If we discuss the biotic components, we have the living components of an ecosystem, that is basically the living community of the ecosystem are the biotic components. In examples, we have plants that are considered in producers, all sort of animals, herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores including human are considered in consumers, and these are also the biotic components. And the decomposers, that are basically the bacteria and fungi that are grown by the dead remains of the plants and animals that have the survival requirement from the ecosystem in the form of abiotic components. In abiotic components, we have the components that are the physical or the chemical factors that act on the living organisms at any part of their life. That factors that form the necessary survival requirements of the living organisms of the biotic community are the abiotic factors. For example, light, air, soil, water, and nutrients. If we consider the example of a human, we have the survival requirements. We need air for our respiration. We need nutrients and food for our supplements and the energy requirement, and we need water for our growth and other processes. If any one of these things is removed, the ecosystem will be destroyed. Another important term that is needed to be discussed in ecosystem is ecology. Ecology or environmental biology is the branch of biology that studies the complex set of relationships between the living organisms and their surrounding environments. As we have concluded that ecosystem is the interrelationship among the living organisms and their non-living environment and their surrounding environments, which is responsible for providing the sufficient factors for the survival of the living organisms. If we study this ecosystem, we will term it as ecology, as it is also defined as the study of an ecosystem is termed as ecology. If we talk about the importance of an ecosystem, it basically provides the habitat to the living organisms. As we have discussed earlier, it is the shelter home, it is the food form of the organisms, because it is a complex of living organisms, their physical environments and all their interrelationships in a particular unit of space. Okay, so here we have an example. That means if we consider the example of a society where humans live, they basically make an ecosystem. If we consider the example of forest, there animals live, many sort of plants are there. They all comprises an ecosystem, they all make an ecosystems, and they basically require an ecosystem for their survival, because all the survival needs, all their survival requirements are present in an ecosystem. Here we have some major ecosystems. forest ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, desert ecosystem, tundra, and freshwater. First of all, discussing the forest ecosystem, the pictures are quickly describing the forest ecosystem. That means what a forest ecosystem is. We ourselves know what a forest is, but moving towards the definition, a forest ecosystem is a functional unit or a system which comprises of soil, trees, insects, animals, birds, and man as its interacting units. It basically comprises all the living community, all the living organisms living there, and the non-living factors that are responsible for their feeding, for their survival, and for their growth. It has the following categories: tropical rainforest, temperate deciduous forest, coniferous alpine, and boreal forest. In the next video, we will discuss what all these categories means. So stay tuned. Grassland ecosystem is an area where the vegetation is dominated by grasses and other herbaceous non-woody plants, and there live the grazing animals that actually feeds on the producers. We can consider them buffaloes, cows, goats, and other herbivores that are requiring grass and other sort of herbaceous non-woody plants for their survival and for their feeding needs. It has the following categories: tropical rainforest and temperate grassland. I'm really sorry, tropical grassland and temperate grasslands. If we discuss it in a brief form, tropical grasslands are those where the temperature is below the normal, and the temperate are those where temperature is normal and higher than the normal. Desert ecosystem basically comprises the dry lands where the ecosystem organisms that are well adapted to those environments live. If we take an organism from the forest, like if we take a lion to the desert ecosystem, he will not survive as he is not adapted to that ecosystems. Deserts are extremely dry environments that are home to the well adapted plants and animals. It has two categories: hot deserts and cold deserts. The fourth classification of ecosystem is tundra ecosystem. Tundra ecosystems are the treeless region found in Arctic and on the top of mountains, where the climate is cold and windy and rainfall is scant. These ecosystems are covered with snow for much of the year, but summer brings burst of wildflowers. So if you are looking to explore the nature, to explore the beauty of nature, go towards the tundra ecosystem. If we talk about these ecosystems in Pakistan, we have Koh Karakoram and Hindu Kush. It also has two categories: high Arctic and low Arctic. Freshwater ecosystems are a subset of Earth's aquatic ecosystems that include all the aquatic life, all the aquatic sources, all the aquatic marine and oceans and rivers where the aquatic organisms, animals, and plants are living, and they need water, plenty of water for their survival. It also has two categories: lentic ecosystem and lotic ecosystem. So if you are looking to know about these ecosystems in detail, stay tuned and watch our next video. If you have any sort of question, do ask it in the comment section. Thank you for watching, everybody.